It is time for another Whack-A-Hovind. Now, this time we're taking a look at whatever he begins his most recent open mic with. Kent has been doing these open mics for about a month, month and a half now, but he tends to front load the first half of it with some little sermon or some mini whacking atheist and leave very little of the actual broadcast to take doing Q&A, or open discussion. So that's proving in lieu of Whack and Atheist episodes because Wednesdays have started to also become his debate nights, most recently with Wade the Wizard. Kent has decided to, use these to sort of fill in that gap. So without Whack and Atheists to react to, this is the next best thing. On a side note, if you want some additional content, over on AJ's channel, I just recently did a video with him on Ken Hovind's Making Babies video on barnacles. AJ thought we definitely needed a laugh after recent events this week. And yeah, that video was something else. If you want to hear Kent Hovind ramble on about barnacle penises nonstop, like hyper fixate on them, that is definitely the video for you. AJ and I had a good laugh with that one. Um, Made one of our friends sick apparently, so there you go. That's top quality Hovind content from uh, top quality Hovind content being riffed on by a top quality Hovind riffer and me. So yeah, I'll leave that. Yeah, I will leave that linked down below again on AJ's channel. So go check it out. But right, let's get into whatever 0645 has to say. Hovind.
Good evening, folks. Ken Hovind here and the crew at Dinosaur Adventureland in Lenox, Alabama. We're the folks who believe the Bible is true and evolution is stupid.
Want to point out he's got TikTok highlighted here. He ain't on TikTok no more. He apparently got banned. And that just amazes me that with all the bullshit that exists on TikTok, that Kent Hovind still managed to get himself banned. That's incredible.
Real stupid. Dumb to believe you came from a rock. I mean, stop and think about it. And the whole universe fit in a dot. Stop and think about it. This is in November the
First off, ignoring your pathetic straw man, have you ever thought that maybe the people who actually do the research on this stuff have spent more time thinking about individual facets of this entire concept of cosmology, which has nothing to do with evolution, but you insist on putting it in there? Um, that they've spent more time thinking about facets of this than you have thinking about anything in your entire life? Ever stop and think about that? And that if it was so obvious that this was just wrong, that it would have been properly called out by people, but oh, you scream conspiracy and everything, because of course, it can't just be that you're completely wrong and that the world obviously doesn't behave the way you think it does.
8th, 2024. Tonight is open mic. You can call in.
Yeah, it's open mic if you can actually manage to get me to shut up for 5 minutes, Hovind.
Any questions or comments? If you curse or swear, you're going to be banned for about 5 years, and then we'll let you on. Maybe as soon as mommy washes your mouth out with soap.
Are you even going to survive another 5 years, Kent? Really question that, especially, getting bit by snakes and other stupid stuff like you do. But also, oh, if you cuss you swear, you get banned? Oh, well, fuck shit, bitch ass cunt. Ban that, Kent. My channel, I do what I want, say what I want, within reasons. I may get demonetized once I, actually have these videos monetized. But that's cool. I'll keep on doing it. Sure as hell not getting terminated. Because, not violating any of YouTube's policies outright. Unlike a certain someone. Let's continue.
Okay, we believe evolution is a pagan religious cult. Prove me wrong. They teach.
I love how he started throwing pagan in there too, as if that has any value. It's not a religion. It's certainly not a cult. He's adding cult in there as well, since everyone calls his little thing a cult. He's so obviously, triggered by just the way we describe everything he does and everything he believes that he's got to, play the reverse Uno card on it. It'd be cute if it wasn't coming from a 70-plus-year-old man who believes in dustmen and rib women and magic talking donkeys and sacrificing oneself to oneself for rules that you make and other idiocy.
The kids the earth is billions of years old. That is absolutely not possible.
Except it totally is possible because that's what all the scientific evidence points to. But I'm Ken Hovind, and I just hand wave it away and try to explain things with magic interpretations from a shitty old book.
They teach the kids all the layers of the earth are different ages.
Oh
The
no,
geologic
he pulled out the chart. Everyone run, he pulled out his laminated graphic again.
column. It doesn't exist anywhere in the world, kids. There is no geologic column.
Kent, I really doubt children are watching this unless their parents are forcing them to. And that's something else I should bring up is that he says kids a lot. And that adds to my view that he never actually taught high school age people because you would never call someone in high school a kid. They'd get pissed at you for that. And they're already a rebellious bunch a lot of the time. Just in the nature of being an adolescent, being, developing into a young adult. You don't call them kids. You treat teenagers with some level of dignity and respect because they are older. And, you get somewhere with that. The way he talks to people, he'd get his ass kicked talking to teenagers like that. So I still hold that he only ever taught grade schoolers at best, which leads to a problem of during the um, barnacle penis video that AJ and I did, he used this kid language quite a bit, and that's a slightly older video. So he's been doing this for a while. And it's like, Kent, I don't think children need to be learning about the intricacies of the barnacle penis. I think that's something that their education would do fine without, and that if you're so insistent on teaching faith, that their faith could do without. Because that's a pretty crazy subject. It's almost up there with duck reproduction. Don't look up ducks. They do not consent at all. They're horrible in that regard. Otherwise, ducks are awesome. That's neither here nor there. The point is, you lack understanding of what is decent, especially to be exposing children to, and yet you treat us, the atheists, the non believers, the scientifically literate, as the horrible people wanting to brainwash and damage children or otherwise cause harm, as somehow a net negative. What the fuck, Kent?
Doesn't exist. There's no such thing as a Jurassic age or Triassic or Mississippian. It's all baloney. They say the top layers
And there's no such thing as a God or a Jesus or an Adam and Eve or a Garden of Eden. It's all baloney.
younger. I say, really? Where did it come from? Outer space?
Oh god, he's on this shit again.
Every speck of dirt on the planet's the same age, whether 6,000 or 6 trillion. Moving it around doesn't change the age of it.
You know, this is a good opportunity to bring this up. When we talk about Ken Hovind's script, and people go, well, it's the truth. He doesn't need to change. It's not a script, it's just fact. It's like, no, it's a script. Because he always says the exact same thing based on particular trigger words or trigger concepts. It's like an obsessive compulsive issue where he has to say certain things after hearing an exact word. You say geologic column, oh, well, I've got to go through my rant about where the layers come from. Whether or not it's related to the subject at hand intrinsically, or if he's just bringing it up as a side tangent, he has to bring it up. But even more so, when corrected on something like this, he just keeps on going, nuh-uh. Additionally to all that is the fact that if someone brings up something he is not prepared for, again, the famous conspiracy cats, I'm not prepared for that moment, he has no ability to even begin to discuss the subject, to even listen to what the person he's talking to has to say on the subject and process and formulate a thought from that. He simply lacks that ability to carry on an active conversation. You know, if you debate Kent, if you talk with him, you're not having an active conversation with him. You're just saying whatever you're going to say, and he's waiting for those trigger words to react to. He will never address something actually nuanced and complicated if it's not already in his slides, which you actually can see a slide guide of at the beginning of this and showing more often in other videos where he's got all his planned reactions to. He doesn't carry on active discussion. It's all just reading from prompts. That's all he's got. And he talks with such assertiveness that it makes his gullible idiots who follow him, feel like he's got some kind of authority. He speaks with confidence, and it's like, Yeah, because he's reading from a bullshit script. If I just dictated out a Harry Potter, I'd be speaking that with some confidence too. Doesn't make it true.
There is no geologic column. I'm sorry, doesn't exist. They teach the kids this crazy chart showing all the life forms coming from a common ancestor like a protozoa or an amoeba. This is stupid. Real. Tell them I said so. I'll debate anybody in the world on this.
Can't no one in in the professional scientific enterprises, no one doing actual science gives a flying fuck what you think. No one. We don't care what you think. People like me, AJ, Simon, Dan, etc. It's a matter of you being such a fucking clown that we even bother with you. This is for entertainment. I said it before and I'll say it again. You're a fucking lol cow that we just milk for laughs. You're a comedy act that well overstayed its welcome. You're not funny on your own. You're funny in the same way Tommy Wiseau's The Room is a good movie, in that it's horrible, but at least there's some actual love and value put into the room. You're just horrible in all fronts. So, fuck you. Let's see if you actually get anywhere with this.
There is no evidence for any of these lines on paper they drew.
There's no evidence for the lines on paper that make up your Bible, Kent, so shut up.
None. That usually fires them up. So if you want to defend your pagan religion of evolution, call in. How do they get a hold of us, brother?
God, he's got such a fucking ego. It's just incredible how much of an ego this fucker has. So arrogant, thinks so highly of himself that this is the way he presents himself. He's like, come on, that really fires him up. Come on, call in. It's like, dude, what the fuck? I've never seen anybody so full of themselves. Ever. You're the second most annoying person I've ever encountered, but you are by far the most full of themselves person I've ever encountered. I can think of other people who are more full of themselves, but I've not had too much direct interaction with them. Aside from calling them a dumbass on X/Twitter back when they, you know, were a little more prominent. And it looks like I guess I'm going to have to do that every single day again for the next 4 years, but that's neither here nor there.
Click a link in the description. Also, I'll post it in the comments. Let's see.
He says that like those are new words to him. Click a link in the description. Okay. All right. I don't know what those words mean, but if they do it, they'll get to talk to me and I'll get to belittle them, Hovind.
We got a whole bunch visiting here tonight from Mississippi. Is that right? Mobile. Okay. Well, good to have you here.
I can't keep up with where anyone's from. I don't have enough dignity, respect for other people to bother remembering where they're actually from. It starts with an M, so I'm just gonna say, oh, they're from Mississippi. That's no Mobile. Oh, they're from Alabama. Like I'm in Alabama. Fuck, Kent. God, it's you know. There's the term microaggressions. Is this just like micro offenses? Is that a concept where it's just little elements of him just not giving a damn that add up? Or would that be a subset of microaggression in and of itself? I don't know. Either way, there's all these little things you look at with Kent. There's always something. And it's kind of fascinating to study. Like, I would love to see genuine psychologists analyze him. And you say, oh, well, psychologists and psychiatrists won't analyze people without actually talking to them. It's like, no, they completely can. They do that. You know, if you go back and study, famous historic leaders who are long gone, you can't interview them. You have to go based on what they wrote, the video of them, film of them, etc. And you can sort of analyze and build the person, characterize them. The same thing can be done here. I'm not saying someone needs to sit there and diagnose him with something, but just analyze and give us analysis of him. It'd be pretty great. But they've got more important things to do with their time.
Before the service, I showed the kids I know how to shoot a rubber band the scientific way. So they're all going to behave very well.
Oh my god, he's on with the rubber bands again. Ugh, you child abusing piece of shit. You know why Kent showed him how to shoot a rubber band? Because being a convicted felon, he can't show him how to shoot a gun. Because he probably would, because he's Ken Hovind. And you gotta learn how to use this to defend your God against them there atheists. Because they're coming for you. They're coming to teach you the real science, and we can't have that.
Unless they want to get a rubber band in the head. Okay.
No comment.
So what grade are y'all in? Fifth? Fourth?
I heard fifth, third, fourth. Good God, these poor little bastards.
Third? I spent the best 5 years of my life in third grade. I loved it, man. That was awesome.
Ha ha,
Okay.
very
All right.
funny.
Comments. Tonight, some of the topics we cover in our debates and typically ask comments and questions. Put my slides back up, brother. We talk about what is the definition of species. God said they'll bring forth after their kind.
No one cares.
That's all anybody's ever seen. Cows have baby cows every time.
Here we go. Buckle up. He's on his shit again. What you want to bet he'll eventually get into? You think they'll have a dog as big as Texas? Let's see.
No exceptions. Dogs have baby dogs. There are no exceptions to that. If you wish to believe otherwise, that's fine. Believe what you want. That's why it's a pagan religious cult. Is this working better with the microphone halfway up my throat here? Can it sound good? It does sound better. Hello. All right. If you kids go to...
Turn your fucking head when you have to clear your throat, dude. At least be considerate enough to do that. I mean, fuck, Kent. Yeah, it's good to know. This guy would get his ass kicked right off a radio if he ever got the opportunity. Ignoring dead air, because I'm bad about doing that as well. But then again, these are all off the cuff. This isn't like a planned, radio playlist or whatever. But he does not know how to actually, what's the word I'm looking for, to vocalize the correct way for these kinds of things. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, but I at least try, or I feel like I try. I'm certainly no Seth Andrews. I will never be. Of course, this is also a cheap Logitech headset as opposed to a relatively professional microphone. But I know the gist of what should and shouldn't be done. And you say, but Chris, your audio kind of sucks sometimes. It's like, yeah, that's because I don't care. These things aren't done with hyper-professionalism in mind. They're fun little riffs, whatever. If you want me to get better equipment, please donate via Super Thanks, or join Patreon, or send a direct PayPal donation, or something, and I will purchase better equipment. I guarantee you on that. Because I love having new equipment to mess around with. That being said, Kent, you suck at even just doing these things. That's where I'm going with this. You just suck at doing the actual vocalizations. You have no consideration for the people listening to you. You just interrupt yourself in the middle. All right, is my mic good? Because I got to talk about the dogs, and I want to make sure everyone hears me, ramble on the same shit they've already heard 1,000 times about dogs. Anyway, enough of me rambling.
Anybody where they teach evolution, first if they say, do you believe in evolution? First you got to ask exactly what do you mean by that word? Because that word has 6 different meanings.
No, it doesn't, you dumbass.
Show you. There is cosmic evolution. That is the origin of the cosmos, or the universe, okay? That is, they say, well, time, space, and matter came into existence with the Big Bang. That is real stupid. Tell them I said so. You'd have to have none of your brain cells functioning to believe that. A Big Bang produced everything.
Keep in mind, this is a good, godly man, a Christian, who thinks he's going to sit at the right-hand side of God, because he's just the best, and this is the way he talks to people. Still love that comment that it is morally and ethically correct to insult Kent Hovind. I forget who left that comment on one of my videos, but top tier chef's kiss.
Look at this. European Space Agency, peer-reviewed journal, that says, time, space, and matter all began with the Big Bang. In a fraction of a second, the universe grew from smaller than a...
Sorry, I had to get a drink of water there. Kent, the ESA website is not a peer-reviewed journal. It's the website for the European Space Agency, with them providing a cursory primer on the idea of Big Bang cosmology. That's all you ever look at is cursory, layperson-intended primers on these things, or slightly more advanced subjects for those wanting to get a little deeper into these things. You're not going into actual peer-reviewed stuff because it's way above your reading level. You couldn't begin to remotely understand some of the papers actually published on subjects like the cosmic microwave background, dark energy, the expansion from the hypothetical singularity in and of itself, Planck time, etc. You can barely wrap your head around stars dying. You're like, you can't fuse higher than iron, and it's like, yeah, you can, Kent. Just takes more energy than you get out of it, but you don't understand that. You just look for the most basic things to put in your shitty little slides, and there you go. You're off to the races with whatever will placate the minds of the lowest common denominator of intelligentsia in this country, in the world. These poor people don't know any better than to know that you and everyone touting the same line as you is full of more shit than a goddamn manure farm.
Single atom, too bigger than a galaxy. Do you realize how dumb that is? They just make a statement and people believe it because, wow, my teacher said it. It's got to be.
Realize how dumb that is? They just make a statement and people believe it. Wow, my pastor said that God loves us, even though he punishes us forever if we don't believe in him and accept these certain arbitrary rules and certain conditions that no one can agree on. See how dumb that is, Kent?
True. No, kids. God created the heaven and the earth. Now, he can do it in a big bang, in a flash, okay? He can make everything in no time.
Yeah, and I'm better than that, so meh. Why? Because I said so. Why does it matter that I said so? Because I'm better than your deity. So checkmate, Hovind.
But this is to leave God out of the equation is retarded. To say, well,
Ooh, Kent dropping the hard R. Actually, that's not the hard R. Although I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't drop it regularly. Um, there's a joke in there. That's a reference, I think, to a Linus Tech thing. I don't much care for Linus Tech at this stage, but that is what that is. It is a reference to it. Point is, Kent's dropping the R word, and I try to avoid using it more readily. I'm trying to be good about that. I'll admit I slip up, and I believe the word can be used in particular articulation, but that's not an argument I'm trying to have here. Kent's just a rude asshole. So Kent, and I'm gonna say this sincerely, with the most love from that I can muster. Your theology is by far some of the most retarded shit I've ever heard in my entire life. And you are one of the greatest morons in the world for taking that shit seriously. That, and given the fact that what you've been exposed to, you know you're full of shit. You're just lying to yourself, lying to others, because it gets you money. You act like, oh, but I don't have money. None of this goddamn shit was free, Kent. This all cost someone somewhere. So yeah, you've got money, even if it isn't in cold hard cash, which is probably sitting in a bag under your mattress. Because you certainly don't trust the banks. They're going to report your ass and you'd wind up right back in jail for structuring because you'd structure your transactions because, that's just how it works. That's just how I do things because I'm a sovereign citizen of the state of Florida, even though I live in bumfuck Alabama now. I got to be careful going into Florida. They'll arrest you there, Hovind. I don't know where I was going with that shit, but just fuck you, Kent.
let's see. Nobody made this little countdown timer here. Nobody made it. That'd be silly.
Yes, once again, show a known artificial object and try to contrast with the natural world, which is self-defeating because at that point the entire world becomes effectively artificial, i.e. non-natural, and thus the comparison becomes intrinsically moot, which destroys the very point you're trying to make. It's one of those like catch-22s that defeats itself once you make the point.
I don't know who made it. I don't know where. I'd probably find out. Let's see. It doesn't say. So somewhere. But no, somebody had to make it. These things don't make themselves. Complex things. A pencil can't make itself. This Sharpie pen. Somebody had to design every part of it. The cap is designed to go on the pen. None of it happened by chance.
Blah, blah,
And
blah,
nothing
blah,
in this
blah,
world
blah,
happened by chance
blah.
either.
Kent
It
is
was all
so
designed.
full
So,
of
you evolutionists,
shit.
call in. Let's hear your defense of your religion. Let's see. Then you have to have what's called
Not a religion, dumbass.
chemical evolution. Because
I gotta go through my slides. They're so complicated. I can't even, do. That's your fine example of intelligent designer right there. Someone who can't even handle their own fucking slides. Who's too incompetent to be able to navigate something they created, an organization system they created. That's fucking great right there, right? And Kent expects us to think that the whole universe is some sort of perfectly articulated thing as fucking terrible as it would be as a designed thing. Just don't get me started.
they say the Big Bang produced hydrogen.
Here we go. He's going to talk about stars.
Well, for hydrogen gas to turn to all the elements we have today is silly. They say, oh, yeah, most of the hydrogen and helium in the universe was created in the moments after the Big Bang.
Well, 370,000 years after the fact during the recombination epoch, where the temperatures got low enough for stable atoms and nuclei and such to start to form, and thus the universe became opaque. Hence why the CMBR dates back to that, because those are the last glowing vestiges before that event occurred. And you started getting, free electrons bonding with protons and some neutrons forming helium, otherwise mostly hydrogen. And then stars formed. Because, you got a whole lot of material in a pretty dense package. It was just cool enough for gravity to start the aggregation process without too much trouble. Because physics, fucking wild.
Okay, how do you get other elements in? How are you going to get fusion? And if the Big Bang blew things apart, the longer you wait, the further apart they get. How are they going to get back together? If a hand grenade explodes, how far out in the field does it take before the fragments come back together? They don't. They get
Just completely ridiculous analogies.
further apart like spokes on a wheel. How do they believe that stuff? I don't know. Hydrogen and helium emerged 379.
Let's note again that he's just pulling from Google search results and summaries. So, real deep research there. He didn't even click a link. He's too scared he might learn something.
9,000 years after the Big Bang. How on earth do they know that? Nature.com. I'll debate your whole science faculty, your whole science staff.
Debate me, bro, Hovind.
Bring them on. Okay? Come on. Nobody willing to take up the challenge yet, Nick?
We don't have any callers yet.
That's because you're not worth anyone talking to, Kent. You're just not worth it. When you did this was just after me and AJ having fun talking with each other and mocking your ass. Way better than bothering to actively engage with you because there is no discussion to be had. You just use it as a chance to have another monologue. Oh, but Chris, aren't you having a monologue right now? Yeah, because this is my video. You decided to click the link. And also, if I didn't speak, this would just be me playing Kent's video, which would be fucking moronic. So instead, I interject commentary because this is a commentary/reaction video format. Get over it. That's right. Broke out to New York there. Get over it. I don't know how New York that was. I don't know what accent that was. I just slip in and out of accents. It's funny, because, I just got these accents and I just do them sometimes. I don't know who I am. I gotta name these characters, but, I'll get around to that.
Okay, come on, you brave evolutionists, keyboard warriors.
Ah, there he goes. He brought up keyboard warrior. From the fucking 70-plus-year-old man who sits behind the desk all the time and does these live streams saying the same shit every single fucking day. Don't you ever get tired of saying the exact same shit over and over, Kent? Ever?
Let's see. In the Big Bang, or at least following the Big Bang, 14 billion years ago, there was hydrogen, some helium, and a little tiny bit of lithium. Well, that's three. Out of the 100 known elements, how do you get the rest of them?
Stellar nucleosynthesis.
See, they have to just imagine that it happened. This is a pagan religion. That's what I've been saying for years. Some of the nuclei combined to form helium. Well, how did they get together? If it came from a bang, they got further apart.
Gravity, you fucking moron. Gravity. Have you ever heard of gravity? Fucking gravity.
They don't get together. The formation of complex organic molecules. That's chemical evolution.
Complex organic molecules. Morganic. Let's go back.
They don't get together. The formation of complex organic molecules. That's
One more time.
they don't get together.
We're gonna go down and do the 0.25 for a laugh. Let's do it.
The formation of complex organic molecules. That's
Oh, that never gets old. All right, back to it.
chemical evolution. Atheists get mad at me for saying there's not 6 different levels. Yes, there are. You'd have
No, there's not. And Kent, no one's getting mad at you. You're a fucking moron. And we get fucking tired of hearing you say the same ridiculous shit. There's a difference. Just being absolutely tired of your crap isn't getting mad at you. If honestly, you should be take solace in that we think better of you, that maybe one day you'll begin to get something, and yet you never do. But contrary to the conspiracy that you claim against, the scientific community that's all about the money, your denial of reality is about the money. You've said so yourself, so,
to have Big Bang. You'd have to have chemical evolution. Then you got to have life get started somehow. Organic evolution, chemical evolution, the theory of life's origin. It's all in the Bible. I mean, all in the internet. See,
It's all in the Bible. God. Focus harder, Kent. You're supposed to be so great at this. You're slipping, dog. You're slipping.
you can't fuse.
And by the way, origin of life boils down to chemicals doing what chemicals do. That's it. You get chemicals that have this odd property, this odd pattern of reproducing, and off to the races. Things just go from there. It's really that simple. If you want to get into the nuances of it, it gets more complicated, yeah. But the base principle, the very root of it, from my point of view, really just boils down to chemicals doing what chemicals do. You get the right ones together in the right physical arrangement, magic happens.
Fuse past iron either. Could some of you adults sit by the kids?
Oh, there he goes. He said it.
See, you can't fuse past iron either.
All right, Kent, let me explain this to you. Explain this in explicit detail, as best I can. Iron is the first element in the fusion process where, in the production of it, you lose energy rather than gaining energy out of the reaction. It's just the nature of things once you reach a nucleus of that size. That being said, that's at normal stellar levels of energy. If you up those numbers, you have, let's say, a far more massive star than normal, or in the case of particle accelerators, you've got a whole lot of energy put in to, the individual particles of smaller elements, and get them to combine, you get denser elements. And in stars, same things happen when the supermassive ones reach the point of iron. There's this nice collapse that happens, because at that point, it very quickly runs out of energy to maintain equilibrium. Gravity wins out. But as gravity wins out, the material gets pushed together further as the star collapses. Heat increases, the energy increases. And for those brief moments before everything just flies apart, you get a nice area, massive sphere, where the conditions are perfect for heavier elements to form. And then, of course, as everything rebounds, it hits the core, you get left with a nice, usually a neutron star there, sometimes a straight up black hole, but everything else that rebounds out, forming a nice nebula filled with all these freshly created heavy elements. It's beautiful, and we understand it in immaculate detail, but you just hand wave it away. In fact, that whole thing about supernovae, iron, basically killing stars, one of the most beautiful things in the universe to me. Now, it's sad to think of a star, quote unquote, dying, but the idea that all of that raw energy, all those processes happening within a few seconds, absolutely amazing. And it's real. We can see it happen. We see the evidence of it. We've seen the entire cycle through a multitude of stars. We've seen supernovae happen, at least, ignoring the light speed delay. Supernova 1987A, we saw that baby blow, and we've studied it since then. We can see the results of the process. We can measure the results of the process. And you just hand wave it all away and think that something we've never seen before, never will see, never have any evidence of, is just outright fact, and that everyone else who actually understands the universe to any detail is wrong. Pathetic, Kent. That's all you are, is pathetic.
Could some of you adults sit by the kids and keep them quiet when I'm preaching here?
I don't want the kids to be kids and talk. They need to shut up because I'm Hovind, and you better pay attention to me.
Okay. Who's in charge of your group there? Hello? Somebody get a small rubber mallet. Just sit behind him. Explain it to him. Okay.
Yep, because Kent loves violence. You fucking abusive prick. It's really going to make them like you, Kent. Yeah, they really, really want to still be there. If they didn't want to be there already, they sure as hell don't want to spend the night at Dinosaur fucking Adventureland.
All right. Which stars can fuse up to iron? Ooh. Takes a lot of pressure to fuse all the way up to iron. Well, how do you get the other elements past iron? Copper and zinc and...
Supernova. Also, a lot of those elements are also formed when, neutron stars will merge, because they'll usually have a nice swarming blanket of all kinds of other debris from the previous stars that they once were. And when neutron stars like to merge, because remember, most stars are binary and trinary. You don't as often get single individual stars like our sun. Um, you know, and the orbital mechanics does what it does with their changed masses, and two neutron stars merge. You oftentimes get a nice smattering of new elements as well. But to keep things simple, we'll just stick to supernovae.
Polonium and lead.
Polonium and lead.
It's like, yeah, I can't try you. A lot of the other element names were a little bit too much for you, huh? Americium, molybdenum, as I called it as a kid. That is a complex one to say. Good old potassium, cobalt, iridium. Iridium, like that iridium layer that kind of is all around the planet and is indicative of a large asteroid impact 65 million years ago or so. 66 million. That iridium layer.
It's dumb, folks. It's just plain dumb. Why don't you guys admit it? It's a pagan religion.
You keep on throwing pagan in there. You never used to say that before, so it's just funny that you got to add that in there to try to make it sound that bit worse. It'd be cute if it wasn't so pathetic, Kent.
You know why they won't admit it? Because then they lose their tax funding to have it taught in schools. That's
Yes, conspiracy.
why you won't admit it. Let's see. Even higher mass stars will burn neon after carbon is used up. However, once iron is reached, fusion is halted, since iron is so tightly bound that no energy can be extracted by fusion. Well, there you go. Guys, give it up. It's a religious belief. Okay.
This is funny. He uses very bland, scientific, quote unquote scientifically minded, tiny excerpts cherry picked from these various little pop science slash casual science publications to try to say that scientists are wrong and outright lying. If that was the case, wouldn't they just lie and say, oh yeah, stars confuse everything? They wouldn't give the very quote unquote evidence that would betray the lie? Like, does that even make sense, Kent? No, it doesn't. So, I just, I don't have words. Your own conspiracy theory doesn't even work. In itself. In its own contained universe, where it's a given. I'm giving you, okay, let's say it's a conspiracy. Then by that indication that they have just left every clue in there that, oh, this is all wrong. Yet, these are the same people who want to prop up the lie? That makes no sense. None. It's not how anyone would operate. Except maybe you. Maybe that's why it seems so plausible to you, because your dumbass would operate that well. Because you've had plenty of Freudian slips recently.
Okay. Any questions or comments you kids wanted to talk about tonight while you're visiting here from Mobile area? No?
No. You just said people should whack them. You should have a mallet and hit them if they act up. You were just rude to those kids. You think they give a fuck about you, Kent? They don't care. They don't respect you. They don't like you. If any of those kids had any positive opinions of you, that little moment earlier said, nah, fuck that shit. They don't care. They're not going to respect you because you're an asshole. You've always been an asshole. You're always going to be an asshole. That's all you are.
There's one question I always get. Okay, yes, sir. What's your question? How did the dinosaurs die? Oh, fair enough. Well, the Bible
And the fly. Hovind.
says God made everything, in 6 days.
So they make these nuts?
Everything. Dinosaurs were made with Adam and Eve. They did not die millions of years ago, and they didn't die when an asteroid hit the earth. Okay? I think during the time before the flood.
You said, I think. So everything that you think is absolutely meaningless. Because what you think isn't reality, Kent. It's not what we know. You've just acknowledged that it's what you think. And I sure as hell don't give a fuck what you think.
Came, the Bible says the people lived to be 900 years old. Reptiles like snakes, lizards,
Here we go. The indeterminate grower bullshit.
turtles never stopped growing. What would happen if a lizard could live to be 900 and never stop growing? Be huge. That's the age of dinosaurs with Adam and Eve. Then Noah took dinosaurs on the ark. You see, dinosaurs on the ark, they're kind of big, aren't they? Well, now, kids, this will be complicated. The big dinosaurs were big, but the little ones were little. Yeah, okay. I know it's hard to comprehend. Okay.
Yeah, insult the children you're trying to quote unquote teach something to. God, you have no tact. None whatsoever. And Joseph wants to get pissy with me for the way I am in my own comments and stuff for my own videos, which are intended primarily for comedic purposes, as well as a bit of, tearing into your bullshit ideas, but this is comedy. But you talk to people like that as a serious point, as a matter of fact, to how you engage with people. As a rule. The hell, Kent?
And Noah was 600 years old when he went on that boat. I bet he was smart enough to figure out, I don't have to bring the big ones. Bring 2 babies. Just be sure to get a pink one and a blue one. Okay. There's all kinds of reasons for.
Ken Hovind can't stand people who dare have a sexuality that doesn't perfectly align with his beliefs, because what 2 people do in the privacy of their own lives is totally his business. Fucker.
Bringing babies on the ark. They're smaller. They eat less. They poop less. They sleep. They're tougher. Kids can bounce around and fall down and keep running. Adults fall down and break. Plus, after the flood's over, they're going to live longer to produce more babies, and that's why you're bringing them. I think he brought babies of everything on the ark. And if you look at the Bible, in Genesis 5, it says, before the flood came, the people lived to be 900. After the flood, go to Genesis 11, they only lived to be 400, and then 200, and then 100. Something changed because of that flood, and I cover that in my video number 2.
No one cares what video you covered it in. Because, that's another thing. You always talk about, I covered it in video number 2, I covered it in video number whatever. But you constantly repeat all your shit ad nauseum, day in, day out, to where those videos are completely superfluous. I cannot say that word. They're unnecessary. In that you've just redone them over and over and over here in your little crappy cult compound. It'd be funny if it weren't so pathetic.
Dinosaurs, many died out because in the new climate they couldn't live long enough to reach maturity. Also, people were hunting them. Back in those days, they called them dragons. Today, we call them dinosaur. Same animal. And they find the bones of them in the ground because they drowned in the flood of Noah, not because they got buried millions of years ago. That is pure baloney.
Why do you always call it the flood of Noah as if he was responsible for it? That there's a ton of grammatical oddities with Hovind and with creationists in general, but that one just really, really fucking confuses me. Just to give accreditation of the flood to the guy who was supposed to have saved life from it, which, again, the flood story is just fucking idiotic anyway. But goddamn, just attribute it to that? Really? I don't think he'd want to be the guy who's it's named after. Just saying.
Good question, though. So I think there might be a few dinosaurs still alive. How many have ever heard of Loch Ness Monster? Did you know 11,000 people claim they've seen that?
Yeah, and they're all full of it. There's no creature that big, especially a plesiosaur, could survive in Loch Ness. For one, as long as it's been reported, too. So that would mean there'd be a whole damn population of them to somehow not be, properly discovered. But also, just to survive in Loch Ness in general, just doesn't work. It doesn't scale up at all. Could there be some interesting little creature hanging out in there? Not against it. But, I mean, it ain't what people say and think when are thinking when you say Loch Ness Monster. I'm not holding my breath, though, on anything out of the ordinary being in there. I just, this is one of those cases where I go to 99% rejected with a 1% of like, well, you could possibly be something else special, some little new species of something in there, but it'd be effectively irrelevant to the whole thing, so it's safe to say, nah, nothing special's in there.
If 11,000 people claim they've seen something, maybe they've seen something.
Wow, if 11,000 scientists have fucking measured the distance to other stars, if 11,000 biologists have judged evolution to be a fact, if 11,000 people have determined that your God story is a load of shit, must have to think about that.
Hmm?
Uh-huh.
I interviewed Sandy Mancy in New Hampshire. Oh, here we go, wrong one. She claimed she saw the Lake Champlain monster. It's like Loch Ness monster.
Yeah, same thing with Champy. So I don't care who the fuck that person is or what they have to say.
I'll go show you pictures of it here. I said, Sandy, I'll show you the picture. She took a picture of the creature swimming out in Lake Champlain. Alt DV, put my slides up there, brother. Okay, let's see. Champ. In between New York and Vermont, there's a lake called Lake Champlain. Many people have written about this. Is there a Champlain monster? Champ, beyond the legend. There's the picture that Sandy took. I interviewed Sandy. I said, Sandra, do you think you saw a plesiosaur or dinosaur? She said, no. I know I saw a dinosaur. 58 passengers on board the Ethan Allen reported they saw the creature 30 to 35 feet long, 3 to 5 humps on its back, cruised with the boat 200 feet off the port.
Hey, if anyone had Cryptozoology on their Kent Hovind bingo cards today, you automatically win. Because I was not expecting this.
Side for 5 minutes in Discover magazine. Don't tell me it was a carp or a sturgeon. It was a fish. If it was a fish, it weighed 3,000 pounds. So there are many people who claim they've seen some of these creatures still alive. Now, kids, don't worry about swimming in our lakes. There's no dinosaurs in our lake, okay? But I think there are some still alive.
I mean, I beg to differ if some birds, decide to pop in there for a nice swim or something, but, we're not going to get into that.
In the world. The Bible talks about dragons. He shall slay the dragon in the sea. In Pensacola, right down here, 70 miles south, this sketch was drawn by Edward Brown.
You know, the center of the universe, according to Hovind. Everything is in the universe is in reference to where Pensacola fucking Florida is. This man was an old man before he was an old man. If that makes sense.
Brian McClary in 1962. He was one of 5 teenagers scuba diving off Pensacola Harbor. There's an old wrecked ship out there. People go scuba diving on the wrecked ship right there. And I got the whole story right here. He said, we were in an Air Force.
I got a whole story right here, but I'm not going to let you read it. I just put it in here. You know, completely illegible, because that's how I do my slides.
Rescue raft bound for a sunken ship a few miles off the coast. Midway out, we got caught in a storm and were dragged out to sea. When the storm cleared, we were in a fog, dense fog. We began to hear strange noises, rather like the splashing of a porpoise, and a sickening odor like dead fish. The noise got closer to the raft, and it was then we heard a loud hissing sound. Out in the fog, we saw what looked like a long pole 10 feet high, sticking straight up out of the water. On top was a bulb-like structure. It bent in the middle and went under. Hey, kids, come on in, come on in. It appeared several more times, getting closer to the raft. The silence was broken once again by something out of the fog. I can only describe it as a high-pitched whine. We panicked. All 5 of us put on our fins and went into the water. Anyway, the neck was 12 feet long. These guys saw this creature.
No, they claim they saw the creature. Whatever they saw, they could have been grossly misinterpreting, or they're just making it the fuck up. But you swallow it hook, line, and sinker because you can weave it into your narrative just fine. Whereas other claims of equal validity that go the other way, you just hand wave away for the very same reasons. Which is bad enough. But the fact that the more affirmative, claims of, for claims from actual scientific papers and the like, you equally just hand wave away. Proper scientific observations, you just say, nuh-uh. But this, you take at face value. Yeah. You're not fooling anybody, Kent.
You can get my video number 3 if you want a whole lot more on that topic. Okay?
No one wants your damn videos.
Any other questions? Okay, live one in the chat. Hey, kids, thank you.
So it took 13 minutes of Kent rambling to get a live one in the chat. That shows the amount of interest you got, Kent. I got more people begging to get into my live streams than you do yours. That should tell you something. My God, when I go live, I am more popular than Kent Hovind. Huh. That actually makes me feel really good. More people want to have a conversation with me than do you. I'm going to take that win. I'm going to cherish that win over the weekend. That win over the weekend. When I do my live stream tomorrow, we're going to have some fun. That being said, Kent, let's see if you say anything else insane, or if I can thankfully end this and meet my personal quota of getting at least one video out a week.
Thank you. Welcome to Dinosaur Adventureland. We're doing a program on TV here. On a bunch of channels, so some of you...
A program on TV? God. The phrase boomer is overused, and I'm a nostalgic old fool, almost an anachronism in the hobbies and interests I have. But my God, Kent. Get with the times, man.
You workers, keep them quiet if you would. And if you got any questions, we'll take them.
I gotta make sure the kids can't be kids. I gotta respect their elders, and I'm fucking ancient. If they don't respect, I'm gonna beat their asses, Hovind.
Okay, what do you got there? Sure, who you got? Lupin?
Oh my God, it's fucking Lupin! No way! Oh man! Oh man. Do I want to go a little further? Do I want to just see what has to be said here? We're just going to go a little further and see what happens.
I don't see him yet.
I'm down here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, hello, hello.
Hey, how you doing, Dr. Hovind?
I cannot hear him.
And he sounds like he's as inebriated as ever. Typical for Lupin, from my understanding. What I've seen. I'm not saying this guy is constantly drunk, but evidence suggests something along those lines. But I don't know. I've never interacted with them personally. AJ sure has, though.
You cannot hear me.
Headphones. Okay, go ahead.
I'm Ken Hovind. I don't know how to put on fucking headphones.
All right, go ahead, Lupin.
How are we doing?
I am overworked and underpaid, way behind, dead tired, but I never complain. Never complain.
Yep.
Yeah, your joke isn't funny. Okay, I just want to make sure, honestly, that this was the same Lupin. I don't care. I can't stand hearing Lupin talk. He's not interesting at all to me. Um, and I don't like some of the shit he's done in the past, so honestly, I just ignore his ass. Right. That was a video. Didn't know where it was going. Wound up kind of surprising. So that's it. I met my Kent video quota for the week. Should have a film at 11 tomorrow. Nice live stream. Might join in on have some fun. Might not. Who knows? We'll just see where things go. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like if you hadn't. Sub if you're new. All that typical YouTube jazz. Links down in the description to help out and check out other things. And I will catch everyone later.